Welcome to Your Small Business Podcast. Hi, I am Janice Martin. I am captivated with all things business, social media, and seeing people reach their business and life goals. Being a small business owner has its high peaks and low valleys, and I am here to make sure you will make it through. I know how it feels to be a small business owner with a desire for the entire world to know about your business. Because I have been a small business owner myself, I have had an online hair boutique, t-shirt business, MLMs, and written a few books, as well as be a realtor. I have learned so much, which is why I created Your Small Business Podcast. This is a platform where small businesses can have the spotlight and expand your brand. Not only are thriving small businesses highlighted, you will also learn about all the topics that are important to you: marketing strategies, growing your businesses, how to persevere through hardship, how to build your brand, and staying in a motivated mindset are all topics that will be discussed here. Real, relatable topics to help yourself and your business reach new heights. It's your one-stop shop for happy hour with a girlfriend mixed in with some business talk. This is Your Small Business Podcast. Business Podcast. How are you doing today?
I am doing wonderful. Janice, thank you so much for inviting me on. I'm very excited to be here.
That is great. Thank you so much. Okay, so of course I know exactly what you do about your coaching success, but how about you tell everyone who doesn't know? Tell us about your coaching journey and what it's been like for you and where it has led you.
Oh, well, thank you for asking. So, coaching journey, right? I didn't come to the decision lightly to become a life and mindset coach, personal development. As with a lot of people and a lot of my fellow coaches, I started out in corporate America, right? And I found myself just doing all the things I thought I was supposed to do, right? I was climbing that proverbial corporate ladder, and then I found myself not being fulfilled, feeling stuck, all those things. And so I went through many years of trying to figure out what was it that I wanted to do. And so I really had to do a self immersion for myself, really go deep and figure out what my strengths were and what my passion is. And for many years, I was just completely stuck. And I went through my own journey of challenges, setbacks, a lot of issues that really plagued me. For years, I really lost my sense of self, if you know what I mean. I became my roles. I got lost in just being a mother, a wife, someone's daughter, someone's employee, and I didn't know who I was. And so I had a couple of accidents, which really threw my life for a turn. I had this curveball thrown at me, and that's probably a whole nother episode right there. But I went through a lot of thoughts of, self-hate, self-deprecating thoughts. I contemplated suicide at one time, and I threw myself into other people. So I became this people pleaser, and everything I was living for other people and other people's validation of myself. And so what I realized was through my own personal development, years of going through therapy, counseling, self-talk, and doing a lot of work on myself, I was able to transform my life and become the woman that I wanted to be. And in making that change, I am a completely different woman. And so now that I am the woman that I want to be, I decided to become a coach in order to help the woman that I was. And so that has led me to who I am today.
That is awesome. It's so many people that are going through that same thing, being in corporate America and just not being happy and trying to find themselves.
Mhm.
Um, how do you take action when you realize that you had to do something different to fill that emptiness? What action should people take when their mindset is right there?
Well, first thing you need to do is listen to that thing, that voice, that nudge, the feeling that you get in your gut when you feel like you're stuck, you feel unfulfilled. Because for so many years, I just kind of pushed that voice down, right? Because like I said, I felt stuck. I felt like I had to stay in corporate America. I had to have the consistent paycheck and the health insurance and all the benefits that go along with that. And what I didn't do was really try to do some self work on myself to figure out who I was. And so there was definitely a shift that had to happen. And what I had to do was really remember who I was. I don't know if the same is true for you, but I find this in a lot of my clients, right? We go through, our formidable years, and then, we do high school and college for some, and you have all of these goals and dreams, right? You're like, I'm going to be this is on my vision board. These are the things I want to do. And then things don't quite go the way that you anticipated, right? And and then somewhere along the line, you forgot who you were. Like I said earlier, you become someone's wife, someone's mother, you're always someone's daughter, things like that. But who are you, and what are your goals? What are your dreams? And so the first thing I had to do, though, Janice, was really get back in touch with who I was before I could make changes to the person that I wanted to be.
Yes, yes. I find that so many women are in that same position. You get so into that box of
Mhm.
being who you are for other people
Yes,
and not even thinking about who you are to yourself.
exactly.
Who am I? What do I like to do? What are my positives? What are my negatives?
Mhm.
You find yourself, you have no idea who you are, and you wake up and you're 40 years old and you feel lost. So that is awesome that
Yes.
you took that feeling and did something with it
Thank
and
you.
became a life coach. That is so awesome. Um, on your awesome website, first let me say I love your website, Rida
Thank you.
Bakhsh.com. And for those who don't know, that's Bakhsh. Okay, Rida
Thank you.
Bakhsh.
Thank you so much. I actually did a redirect just because the name is, unique, we'll say.
Uh-huh,
So
uh-huh.
when I started, I told you that I really am on a mission to help the woman that I was. So the website
Mm.
can be easily found at iwasthatgirl.com. So that's a lot easier
Yes,
to remember.
I saw that too. Yes, that's very easy to remember. I was that girl.com.
Yeah.
But on your website, you talk about one reason why people give up when
Mhm.
they start something new is
Yes.
that their mindset was just not prepared
Mhm.
for it. Elaborate more on that view of people actually just quitting and giving up because they're just not prepared. Just elaborate on that a little bit.
So there's a couple of different angles with that one, but it's something where I like to define it as situational happiness.
Mm.
So there's a lot of people who think once I get that promotion, I'll be happy. Once I lose weight, I'll be happy. Once I get the big house, the fancy car, all the things, then I'll be happy. And what happens, Janice, is they achieve these things, but they're still not happy, right? Because there is a blurred line between success and happiness. You think that success is going to equate happiness, but that's not true for everyone. Some of the most, happiest, joyful people are living very, mediocre conservative lifestyles. And that's because they're able to find that happiness from the inside. And so when I talk about people who achieve these things or their mindset isn't ready, it's because of the way that they view themselves and the way that they view the world. They view it through a filtered lens, if you will. And this could be because we have self-limiting beliefs. We have, that negative self-talk, that inner critic that likes to pop up every now and again. There's a lot of things where we view things and we take it personally. We have expectations and then our feelings get hurt. There's so many things that, especially as women, but as anybody, right? That if you're able to view the world in a different light, in a different manner, in a different perspective, then no matter what happens, you're going to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. We're so focused often on the destination, but we're missing out on the journey. And that's what the key is.
That is so awesome. That was, I like to call value gems. You just dropped 10, 15 value gems just on that statement, because so many people
Mhm.
are doing that as well. They think that, oh, I want to lose 50 pounds, and they get there
Mhm. Right.
and find themselves feeling happy when really it's not about the pounds,
No.
not about the pounds at all. It's something inside. And a
Yes.
lot of people don't take that journey of self discovery to
Mhm.
really figure out what is it that they're needing.
Exactly. And then to go one step further, right? If you try something, let's say that you're able to push outside of your fears and you try something and then you fail, you beat yourself up, you might walk away. Or let's say that you succeed, but then they're not ready to handle that success. They're not
Mm,
ready for the way that people respond to their success because they're afraid of the judgments and the criticisms. I actually, in the beginning, especially being around other life coaches, I've heard so many of them say that they don't want to tell their friends and family what they're doing.
wow.
Right. Because they are afraid of what other people are going to say about them, think about them. And what
Wow.
that does, it keeps us in a box. It keeps us very
Mhm.
limited. And so you can't truly be your authentic, genuine self if you're afraid of what other people are going to say and think about you.
Isn't that amazing to just think
Mhm.
about how so many people are not living up to their own potential just
Yes.
because of what someone else might think. I
Yes.
mean, some people can be doing some amazing, amazing things,
Mhm.
and it's just all because, oh, my mom might not like it, or my friends might not like it.
Right.
It's really disheartening to think about, because you want everyone to live a happy, fulfilled life, but
Yes.
because they're worried about what someone else might think, they're just going
Right.
to keep themselves in that box. Wow.
They are going to
Wow, wow,
put
wow.
themselves in that box. And what I also find too is that oftentimes we are looking for that support, right? Like we're so
Mhm.
excited, like, hey, I decided I'm going to become a coach, or, I'm going to open my own business. I'm going to do, whatever it is that your vision is. And a lot of times, and I'd like to believe it comes from a place of love, maybe your family member or friend support system, they may find all the reasons why you can't or all the reasons why you shouldn't. But quite honestly, they are projecting their limitations on you. They don't have your vision. And that's what, if anyone is out there listening that thinks that they want to do something and maybe they've received some not so great feedback, just remember that it's your vision
Right.
and hold on to that, anchor into your truth, not theirs.
Wow, that is. Ooh, I know a lot of people need to hear that, and me as well. I've been there. I have been
Right.
there. Yes. So, in one of your videos on your Instagram page, you spoke about, and I love this. This what you're saying: failing your way to success
Yes.
and failing forward. When I
Yes.
saw that, I said, "Oh, that was a value, Jim. I love that." Just speak a little bit on that concept you have going there.
Oh, great. Yes, that is actually one of my favorite things to talk about because I like to say it's not a dirty F word, right? Failing is not a dirty word. Failing, it all goes back to mindset, Janice. It's the way that we look at it. A lot of people will look at failing as it's negative and I'm going to take my ball and I'm going to leave the playground and it was a swing and a miss.
Yeah.
Instead of looking at failing as a learning opportunity. If you failed 500 times at doing something, you found 500 ways that didn't work,
Wow.
but you keep going. That's the key because most people will fail their way into success. It's not very often that the first swing you make, you hit a home run. It's possible, but it's not common. But you keep trying until you get to the results that you want. One of the analogies that I like to use is if you're trying to get into your house and it's locked, right? You go through the front door, it's locked, you can't get in, but the goal is to get into your house. So do you just walk away? You tried one thing, do you walk away? No.
Ooh.
No, maybe you try the window. Maybe you try the garage. Maybe you scale the building and go through, the roof or something. You keep trying. So the method here or the really the takeaway is it's okay to change the method, just not the mission. Look at failing as learning opportunities. And what I like to tell all of my clients, especially when they have big goals where they're trying something new and branching out, I like to tell them that any obstacles you come across, create a journal, write everything down, everything that you tried, everything that didn't work, and keep going until you find what does work. And then that becomes your roadmap. This is also how you can help people and say that I've tried this works, this doesn't work. So it can be a very encouraging tool to document your whole entire process.
That is so awesome. And I love that analogy of the house. That is just picture perfect when you think about it. And I think so many people, they get on social media, on Instagram and Facebook and different things, and they see these people just really booming at their business. They have 100,000 followers, they're making all this money, and they're seeing the end goal
Mhm.
and they're of that person, and they look at it like, oh, they look like they're an overnight success. No, you're not seeing all the work that person put into it. This is not an overnight success story, and so many people, that's why they give up on their first or second try, and they're just done because
Agree.
they're looking at everybody else and like, no, you're not seeing that person's journey. You don't realize that that person has been working for about 12 years on what they're doing, and now after 12 years of consistency,
Right.
they are successful, and people are not looking at it that way.
No, they're not. And another big piece to that, that's a great example. Another piece to that is to remove the compare and despair game. You look
Mm,
at other people and for me personally, when I first started, I was looking at other coaches that have gone before me, and I started to feel defeated. Like, well, I don't have that. I don't do that. I don't say that. And it really started to get into my mind. And so I had to get out of that mindset and understand that it's not about a compare and despair for me. I'm looking at other coaches and other people who have done greater things and accomplished the big goals that I want. And I use
mm,
that as a source of inspiration, not
yes.
as a source of defeat. And it's all about the mindset and how you take in that information.
That's great. That is so great. I'm gonna do a little shift here and talk about confidence.
Okay.
Because we as women, we have this negative self-talk that we do, and we bring ourselves down. And so, what is your advice as to how to stop doing this? How do we take some of those steps just to stop breaking our own selves down?
Oh, Janice, this is so common, right? As
Hmm.
women, we do this, we get into our heads, and sometimes we overthink and we overanalyze and we overcriticize ourselves. But what this really goes back to is self love. If you're doing a check and an assessment on yourself, where do you fall on the self love meter? Right? A lot of times we're not very kind to ourselves. The way that you talk to a friend or a loved one, how supportive you are to them, are you equally or if not more supportive to yourself? Oftentimes not. So one of the things I like to talk about is your inner critic, right? This inner voice. This inner voice usually starts, when you're very young, and it has to do with your upbringing, your experiences, your circumstances, all of that kind of factors in to who you are right now. And the way that you talk to yourself and view yourself has a big part to do with that foundation. So if you find yourself talking down to yourself, being overly judgmental and critical, I encourage everybody, and I went through this myself, to journal. Write down all of those negative things that you think about yourself, all the reasons why you don't believe you can accomplish your goal. You don't believe that you're a good person, all of those things. Actually, take it out of your head and put it onto paper. And
Mm,
then once you get everything out, go through and ask yourself if that's true.
mm. That is
It,
a very good exercise.
it's a very powerful one. A lot of times we have all of these thoughts in our brains and we think that we're managing them, but we're really not. We have anywhere from 60 to 80,000 thoughts. And when they are unmanaged and unprocessed, that leads to overwhelm, it leads to anxiety, leads to stress,
Mm,
and a lot of that negative talk. One thing I like to do, I like to have my clients name your inner critic. Like when she's saying something negative, You say,
Mhm.
not today, Felicia, or, not today, Becky. No, no, Becky, I don't believe you. You're like, I know
That's
I
a
got
good one.
this. Well,
That is really good. I guess I need to name mine. I don't know what I would name her. I'll have to think of it.
name
Maybe
it.
Karen.
Karen. Okay, so that's a good one. Name her Karen so that when Karen pops up, you tell her not today, Karen. And then
That's right.
what that does, do you see how you laugh? What that does, it removes Karen's power over you.
Mm.
Because
Oh,
when you
wow.
listen to her, you're listening to her from a place of authority. If you tried something and you failed, and Karen says, "See, I knew you couldn't do it. Yep,
Mm.
yeah, this is what we thought all along. You knew this. I don't even know why you tried." When you say, "Not today, girl, Karen, I'm not listening to you. I know that I got this." Then you laugh. You take the humor in it, and so it just changes the dynamic. I know it sounds silly, but try it.
That is actually pretty good. I don't even think it's silly. I think it's a great, great idea.
Okay.
Um, okay, so the next thing I wanted to do another shift and just talk about life coaching because there's a lot of people who want to be a life coach out
Yes.
there and pursuing that journey. If you had to pick 3 words
Hmm.
on what makes a successful life and mindset coach, what would that be and why?
3 words. There's a lot of qualities and attributes that make a successful coach. But for me, I'm going to answer this from being on the receiving end, not on the giving end. I believe that you will find true success if you're empathetic, if you're encouraging, right? And authentic. I I've had coaches that were all 3 of those, and I found myself really motivated and driven and, looking forward to every conversation with them. But then I've also had some where it felt very forced and very fake. And one thing that I've realized is that there are coaches who get certified, as did I, but they get certified and they only teach from a place of education. Whereas I teach from a place of experience, education, because I've walked a day in those shoes, right? So when we were talking about, I want to help the woman that I was, it's because I was there. I had the self limiting beliefs, I had the challenges, I had, like I told you, self hatred for myself at one point. And I was able to overcome those things. And so I personally love working with coaches that get it, that
Yeah.
they understand what the struggles are. There are a lot of life coaches right now that want to be a life coach or embarking on this journey, but they themselves, Janice, have never had a coach.
Mm.
So, one of the things that I highly encourage, especially if you want to become a coach, is get a coach, hire
Mhm.
a coach. There's no way that you can authentically and genuinely promote your services and your ability to help if you've never been on the receiving end of that help.
That is an awesome point. Because that was one of my next question was, what is the next step for
Mm-hmm.
someone who is thinking about being a coach? What
Mm-hmm.
is the next step they should take? And just to hear you say, actually get a life coach, that is amazing because I did not expect you to say that. I thought you were going to say, oh, get your certification and do all
Yeah.
that. But you're exactly right. That is an exactly great point. Yes, that is it. Um, so, as a life coach, how do you keep your ideas and your goals fresh? Any tricks for anyone to stay inspired as they're going through that journey?
So, what I like to do is continually learn. I'm always learning. When I'm in the car driving, I used to listen to music and sometimes I still do, but most often I'm listening to an audiobook or a podcast or, this create your small business podcast, right? I have that. I have that. I have all of the things that can better myself and inspire me and can keep me motivated, right? Because and especially if you want to be a life coach and you want to be in the personal development or emotional space arena, it is important that you continually learn because you're essentially just bettering yourself and the tools that you have to help your clients.
That is awesome. Yes. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited to have you here. This was
Thank you.
awesome. So, how can our my listeners get in touch with you?
Well, as we talked about before, my website is iwasthatgirl.com. I do offer complimentary discovery calls for anybody who's interested. In the discovery calls, I just like to understand who you are. There's no hard selling or anything like that. I know sometimes that can be a little intimidating for people. If anything that we've talked about today resonates with your listeners and they just want to explore to see if coaching is right for them, I would love the opportunity to answer any questions that they may have, because coaching is right for you when you're ready. And if you're not ready, that's okay too. I offer a variety of ways to support women, and I do that through a private Facebook group. It's all about encouragement and empowerment. But I also promote positivity, and I like to send high vibes and positive energies back into the world, one woman at a time. And I do that through coaching and clothing. I don't know if you saw that I also have a line of t-shirts called Positivities, because for t-shirts, and it has powerful words on there, and it's very uplifting, especially coming from last year, right? Nobody had
Yes.
COVID on their vision board, but coming from last year, I just believe that the world needs more positivity. And, I love to connect with anybody who wants to bring more energy back into their life. So
That is awesome. And of course, in the show notes, I will leave all of your links
great.
to everything you do for everyone. But thank you so much. I so appreciate you. And
Thank you,
hopefully,
Janice.
I will see you again to do another show.
I hope
I
you
would
enjoyed this
love that. Thank you so
wonderful
much,
podcast
Janice.
interview with
Yes, yes.
motivational life coach and speaker Rida Bakhsh. All of her links will be in the show notes. Tune in to next Tuesday where you will have another new podcast show waiting for you. I'm Janice Morton with your Small Business Podcast. See you later.